We're less than 24 hours away from the special election for Wichita's 1% sales tax proposal.
And one of the biggest complaints from Vote No advocates has been how fast the plan came together. Brock Wilson joins us to go over the full timeline of how we got here. Brock?
Mike, I remember having a conversation with City Councilman Dalton Glasscock back in November about the possibility of a local sales tax. He told me he was working with a group to get a 1% sales tax proposal in front of the City Council in the next couple weeks. Well, that plan ended up being introduced by the nonprofit Wichita Forward in mid-December.
Wichita Forward is excited that the people of Wichita now have the opportunity to evaluate the sales tax on its merits.
Despite high hopes from Wichita Forward, the 1% sales tax proposal was met with plenty of opposition.
I want you to think about passing an unpopular ordinance that has had so much pushback could have on your future at this council.
But on December 16th, the Wichita City Council agreed to send it to a public vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
About 1 month later, council members discussed the proposal again, with Mayor Lily Wu calling a special meeting to reconsider the decision.
The delay, the surprise, and the frustration actually happened on Friday morning when we received an email letting us know that it was going to cost more and that many voters would not be at their polling location. With new information, it does changes things.
That vote on January 14th failed, and the March 3rd election went forward as planned. But next came the question of government accountability.
People don't trust what you guys do, unfortunately. There's a lot of lack of trust, okay?
70% of Wichita citizens do not trust you. Taxpayers are incredibly frustrated that you all held secret private meetings with business insiders behind closed doors.
Community members continuing to come to city council meetings voicing their distrust in council members, which led to a set of guardrails for how the money should be spent being put into place on February 10th.
The implementation plan. How will this ballot initiative be implemented if passed? 8 resolutions for you to consider. They reflect different conversations that we've heard from council members.
Which brings us to today. Several city council meetings, public forums, and pitches both for and against the 1% sales tax. Later, it's now time to vote.
I believe the people of Wichita deserve a choice and deserve a choice for themselves.
I think this gives people an opportunity to say they want to support it or not.
This way, we have an opportunity for the community to weigh in and make the decision.
And that's why we're having this vote tomorrow. Despite the somewhat abbreviated timeline, regardless of personal belief, city council members agreed they wanted community members to be the ones to make this decision. Rachel?
Brock, thank you. Today, Central County releasing its final early voting numbers ahead of tomorrow's election. About 9,300 people have voted in person, and about 6,500 mail ballots have been returned out of the more than 11,000 sent out. Early voting ended at noon today at the Central County Election Office.
The Wichita Transit will offer free bus rides tomorrow. If you plan to vote in person, no proof of voting is required to get a ride. Polls will open tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. A reminder that 11 polling locations have been reassigned for this special election. You can find your polling place. Just click on the story at kwch.com or on the 12 News app.